The differences between philosophical counseling and psychological counseling and psychiatric counseling and pastoral counseling and financial counseling and, every other, there are obviously differences. People are complicated. We're very complicated beings, and we have all kinds of agendas. When we wake up in the morning, there's a lot of stuff usually going on in people's minds and lots of things we need to deal with. The philosophical dimension has been neglected in contemporary civilization for a long time, and some of the other dimensions have tended to be overplayed somewhat, or rather other professions have reached further than they can grasp in terms of trying to deal with the human being, who is this complex entity. So philosophy was traditionally, and now we're going back to the axial age, if you like, 500 BC, the time of Confucius in China and Buddha among the forest sages of India and Pythagoras, one of the keynote players in the rationalist tradition of ancient Greek civilization. This is 500 BC. Philosophy was viewed as both a practice and also a set of ideas that was very conducive to leading a good life. And this was not religious particularly. We didn't have to have God, or we did not have to have God. That was more, the Greeks had lots of gods. The Chinese and the Indians had even more gods, and the Chinese didn't really have any gods at all. But they all produced these ways of leading life, which were meant to make people as fulfilled as possible so that they could lead contributive lives and that they could feel like they had meaning and purpose in their own lives and attain some kind of serenity. And this was really the job of philosophers. Philosophy was a guide to the art of living. With the advance now, if you want to fast forward 1,000 years, 2,000 years, science and technology have worked wonders for us. But actually, the place of philosophy has been grossly marginalized, partly by philosophers themselves who've kind of beat this hasty retreat in the face of science and made themselves very often quite irrelevant, doing important work which is theoretical only and within the academy only. And they retreated from making themselves useful. Applied ethics has come back. And the easiest way to understand philosophical counseling may be to look at its forerunner in the last 30 years, applied ethics. Take an example, the question of abortion, or the question of euthanasia, the question of stem cell research. We have all these powerful biotechnologies, and we can do increasingly significant things to the human being. Bioethics and bioethicists are debating at the level of social policy. Should we use this technology? How should we, or should we not, and why not? And these kinds of philosophers make important contributions to public debate about these issues. And eventually, philosophical positions will inform state regulation and or legislation and even perhaps Supreme Court decisions in this country. What are we going to do when a person, a real human being, has to make a choice? Should I have, in the case of a woman, should I have an abortion or not? In the case of any of us, should we be pulling the plug on grandma or not? What kind of euthanasia can we actually justify or tolerate or permit? These are all questions which pertain to persons. So philosophical counselors are actually helping persons make the hard decisions on the ground, because social policy is, in a certain sense, very abstract. But when you have that issue and you have to make this call, then maybe a philosopher can help you to deliberate more effectively about what's right and what's wrong. That's one specific kind of instance where we follow from applied ethics.